What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we are not playing the day that you're going to see this. It's coming out tomorrow, and we don't have a Sunday game. We have a Monday night game this week. But I didn't want to leave without giving y'all some info today, and then of course Monday I'll give like a prediction about who I think is going to win, individual matchups, all that good stuff. We're going to start with what started as like, oh my God, not another situation news, and it turned out to be nothing a big deal at all. So Tyreek Hill missed practice today, and typically when you miss practice right before a game, that means you're not going to play. That means an injury popped up, and so when I saw Tyreek miss his practice, I said, oh geez, let me look into it. Turns out his parents are having a 50-year wedding anniversary, and he wanted to go celebrate with them, which I think is awesome. We don't typically do heartfelt, nice stories here because that's not what gets clicks, but typically that's not what people care about on the team. But it is something that I think we should highlight. There's very, very little good Tyreek Hill news. I think the fact that your parents have been together for that long is commendable. The fact that you thought it's important enough to go see them. And I think if we didn't have a game on Monday, he would not have probably gone. But also Tyreek's reckless, so maybe he would have just red-eyed it and like did it back and forth and then been like, man, I'm so tired for the game on Sunday. Too bad I was partying all night with my parents. But this is a good story. Shout out to the Hills. 50 years is tremendous. Small anecdotal note. I had a comedy show last night, and we had two couples in our front row that were like probably in their 70s, maybe early 80s. And they said both of them have been married for 53 years each. And I thought that was, they've been friends for that same amount of time. So it was like two groups of friends and married for 53 years. I was like, wow, that's really awesome. And I told some jokes about them being 107 years old. And it was past their bedtime. They laughed and we all had a good time. But that's why Tyreek wasn't in practice today. It wasn't no injury. He will be there on Monday night. No beef with the team. Just hanging out with the fam. Now we can talk about like the actual team, right? I think the defense to me has been playing kind of passive all year. I'll give you guys my philosophy on defense. I think you should be aggressive most of the time on defense. I hate passive defense. The prevent defense, it pulls something out of my soul when I watch a team be effective at defense for an entire game and then get to the last minute and a half and say, we're going to do everything different. We've been doing it all game. You haven't scored. We have the lead. But you know what we're going to do? Change everything. We're going to stop being aggressive. We're going to back everybody up to a certain line, and we're going to just hang out there. And then, let's see what happens. I don't understand it. It's incredibly frustrating. I don't know why. I know why teams do it. It's to prevent the big play, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I think the prevent defense prevents you from winning the game a lot of times. But the Dolphins defense all year has not caused a turnover. We have very few sacks. We're not really pressuring quarterbacks. So what are we doing? We're not pressuring anything. We're not being aggressive at any level of our defense. If anything, we're being dictated to by the other team's offense, right? So Coach Weaver came out talking about we're not aggressive enough. We're not hitting people enough. We're not making people feel us enough. And we need to get back to doing that. So then they asked Mika Fitzpatrick about what Coach said. And this is what Mika had to say. We got to be in a position where we can play fast. I think when you're playing slow, you're not able to be violent. You're more reactionary than being aggressive. We're in a position to play downhill, put our shoulder pads on people, knock the ball off people. I think that's when we get the violence that he's talking about. Yeah, checks out to me. When you're being dictated to and they're running the ball down your throat, when you don't know the defense you should be in. And again, we have a lot of guys playing on defense who wouldn't play on most teams' defenses. Like, we don't have a lot of guys that are like, oh, this guy was starting anywhere in the league. It's like they're starting for us because we have a shortage of money, shortage of players. We know what we're doing. So there are people on the field who really shouldn't be on the field, like for real. And now they're out there and they don't know what they're doing. We have a lot of young guys. We have a lot of people on one-year contracts who weren't here before, don't know the defensive system, have been hurt during training camp, have been hurt during the year. So they're not getting the practice reps in. They already don't know the defense. And some of them have been like almost lifelong backups that we're saying, hey, go out there and be a starter. It's not a great position to be in. So, of course, guys don't know their assignments. They don't know where they should be. So they're playing a little hesitant. Like, should I come downhill? Is that a pass? Is that a fake? So you don't know. And then once teams get up, they start running the ball. Now it's just physicality. and we're supposed to be better up front. We haven't really been up to this point. But when teams are running the ball down your throat, now you got to commit more to the run. So now you're imbalanced on the back end, and it just becomes a cycle of one by one by one by one. If you think of all the defenses in the league that you think are really good, that you like to watch, and I know ours is not one, but like around the league, like when Minnesota played last week, I was just watching these guys fly around. I'm like, man, they are having a time of their life. When I watch Houston's offense is awful. I don't know what they're doing to CJ Stroud right now, but that defense is humming, boy. They be like Will Anderson and like Daniel Hunter and those. They come off the edges and they are hitting people, man. Its linebackers are hitting. Like Stingley's awesome. They look like they're having a good time. They're playing downhill. When I watch our defense, I feel like our DBs are always back. I feel like our D-line's not pushing forward. There's no penetration. There's no tackle for losses. It's because it's like, do I shoot the gap? Do I like stay up? Do I like try to stunt? They don't know what they're doing. And when you're losing, you don't have as many like outs. When you're winning, you can kind of do what you want. You can say, you know what? Let's send a zero blitz where we just like send the dogs and no safety will help over top and see what happens. When you're losing, you're like, all right, we can't give up any more yards. You gotta get like it just. So we're not really playing aggressively, and we haven't been in a position to be aggressive, I think, up to this point. And honestly, let's be honest, Minka Fitzpatrick hasn't been good. Can we say the elephant in the room? Like, I like hearing Minka say this because I like to know that how he's thinking about how he should be playing. But he is not doing what he should be doing. Y'all know I'm a big Minka fan. I love the trade. Liked him since Alabama. He has not been the agent of stabilization I thought he would be in the secondary. He has not been impactful. He hasn't forced any turnovers. He obviously hasn't got any picks. I don't even see a ton of pass breakups. He's just floating around. And I don't think he doesn't know the defensive system. I think he just isn't playing well. And he wants a new contract. So it's like you want a contract extension and you're not even playing up to your own standard right now. Like, are you playing as violent as you should be playing? I feel like maybe that would be my follow-up question if I was the reporter. Like, hey, Minka, I know you're talking about you guys want to play violent, pad level, hit people. What are you doing? I've been saying all year, where's Zach? Y'all heard me most of y'all been with me for a while. You heard me all off season. I was beating the drum. Yo, get Zach his money. Zach's better than Milton Brown. He's better than Dan. I'm calling people out. Get his man his money. They gave him his money, and then he became a worse player. So, and he's been in the system. He knows it. He's just not playing well. So, yeah, I think there's something about a lot of guys in secondary not doing their job well. I think a lot of people are young. We've had a lot of people have to fill in, switch sides. It's a lot. We're not playing physical. I don't think any team game plans against our defense like, all right, watch out for this guy. I think they just run their offense and said, we think we're going to win. Like, we can run the ball? Sure. Pass it? Why not? What are you going to do, stop us? Like, I don't think there's any fear against our defense. And I like the talk because that sounds like this week we might, pull those dogs out a little bit. So we'll see what happens. It's Monday night. The whole world's going to be watching. Let's see what happens. Now, one thing that needs to happen for sure is we need better protection, especially on our right side of the line. James Daniels is coming out the IR soon, I believe, but I think they might extend him a little bit because it's not sounding like he's going to just bounce right back in 2 weeks and be ready to play. I think Austin Jackson will be back. So if James Daniels is not going to be playing, we got to figure out their right guard situation. Currently, Keon Smith is a starter, and he hasn't given up a sack yet, but he's allowed a bunch of pressures that's led to Tua running for like half-yard gains, which aren't sacks, but like it definitely blew up the play. Tua scrambling to his left, trying to get out of the lack of protection from that side. He hasn't done a good job. Daniel Brunskill is like our oldest guard, and he's got the experience side of it, but he hasn't been great, but he's definitely come in to relieve Keon a couple times. So there's something going on there. And then we have Cole Strange, we picked up from the Patriots a few weeks ago, put him on the practice squad. And I think he's like getting a couple snaps to see, hey, could he be the guy? Most likely, Keon's going to start on Monday. Most likely. I think Keon has not been doing his job. I'm just going to say it. I think he has not been doing his job. You can tell me whatever you want about him not giving up sacks. I'm watching that side of the line be a liability. That's what I'm seeing with my eyes. You can tell him a Pro Football Focus, so I'm watching the games. Like, he's not doing his job. Daniel looks like he's a little bit better, but he is older. I think he's less athletic, so maybe we can't like pull him and do certain things in a run game that coach wants to do, which is why I think Keon plays because yes, he's not great in pass protection, but he's a little bit more athletic. He's a little bit more versatile in how he can block, except for when it comes to straight pass blocking, which you have to do at some point. Cole Strange, I haven't seen him on the field in like a year. I don't know if he's better than either of those two guys. He could be worse. I know he's young, like he's got the right age, but the fact that he wasn't like actively starting for a team or really in a rotation for a team tells me that he probably, at least on film, hasn't been great. Now maybe our scheme is good for you. Sometimes schemes change people. Like I watched Mekhi Becton be literally a bust at tackle. Top 10 pick. Jets said you're going to be our franchise. And then they said this guy stinks. Get out of here. Philly said, you want to play a brand new position? He was like, nah. They said, cool. And he said, okay, maybe I will. And then was a Pro Bowler and got a contract extension. So it may not always be that the player is not good. It very well may be that the scheme is not fitting. That side's just not doing his job right now. And James got hurt too early in the year to know if he was really doing his job. And because Tua's left-handed, the right side's kind of got to be shored up. And when the tackle's also not doing his job, it's a bad situation on that side. So if I had to guess, I would think Keon's going to start, but we'll have a very short leash. The minute he gets that holding call or gives up a sack, he's out of there. And then Daniel most likely comes in, and I hope we don't get down too cold because that means that side's been a liability all night, and that could be a dangerous situation. I can't believe this is still going, but also this kind of makes sense. Cam Newton is notoriously a petty dude, and Tua is notoriously thin-skinned. So, so the idea that these guys have beef actually lines up perfectly because Cam's never going to stop talking, and Tua's never going to stop being offended by stuff. And so they're going to keep going back and forth. The problem is that, one, Cam is a much better trash talker than Tua is because that's what Cam has been his whole life. He's been the tallest, biggest, strongest dude in the room. He's also been an awesome player. He has a podcast. He's on First Take. He's going to do this. Tua has been mostly not talkative, and when he does talk, he often says the wrong thing, often at the wrong time. And so if this keeps going, it's going to favor Cam, and it's going to be bad for Tua. I hope Tua's done. I hope he just doesn't address Cam again after this week. But depending on how Tua plays this week, Cam might get back to talking again because this is a story that's continued to go. So if you don't remember, Cam Newton talked about what Tua gets paid and how that relates to other guys at his position group. So he gets paid more than like Jordan Love and Lamar Jackson, and he started naming a bunch of other people. And he said, Tua, you're making this much more money, but you're not better than those guys. With more money comes more problems. This Tua you are right now is not the one that they paid. You're not paying like the guy you should be, right? They want the guy from 2 years ago, the guy that led the league in passing. You're not doing that. And then Tua came out and did like kind of a straw man thing of like, yeah, Cam's talking or whatever, but you know, anybody off the street can't just come in and play quarterback, even though that's not at all what Cam was talking about. And Cam is not a street person. Cam is literally a former MVP. So that's like he addressed the spirit of what Cam was saying, kinda, but he definitely didn't attack it because he didn't want to say, because he couldn't say I'm playing better than any of those guys. He can't say that because he clearly isn't, and he can't say I don't deserve the money because who would ever say that? So Tua kind of got caught in a bind, which is why I wish he would not have taken the bait. The correct answer is, hey, you know, Cam's on TV, he played in the league, he knows how hard the position is, he's entitled to his belief. I know I'm not playing my best ball. I'm gonna turn it around. We're gonna start winning some games. Hopefully, you know, he'll like me afterwards. Like you can kind of like piece your way out of it. Tua decided to try to like go head on. Didn't work out. So once Tua said anybody can play quarterback off the street or whatever, Cam jumped out the window and said this. Stupid. Part of me wants to say anybody can go 0-3. Do I feel a certain type of way? Absolutely not. I said what I said, and I'll stand on what I said. This Tua Tagovailoa that we have seen within the last 12 months is not something and someone that is indicative of what we've seen before. When I see the situation that's taking place in Miami, it's more Love Island drama than football. So I don't watch Love Island. I don't know any of the characters, any of the seasons. I know it's a popular show. I don't have a reference point for it. But I know it's like reality. So the fact that you're calling the team reality TV between the quarterback, the coach, and a wide receiver, that's not good. It's funny. And I know a lot of people who watch football also watch Love Island, so they get the reference. They say, "Oh my God, he's right." I don't know if he's right. I know it's funny, and I know that if Cam keeps talking, he's going to keep saying funny stuff because that's what he does. I hope that Tua doesn't think he can say something funnier than what that is. Maybe Tua's response should be, "Yeah, I don't watch Love Island, and I'm busy watching film, trying to get better every day." But shout out to Cam for keeping up with the culture. Like I would gracefully try to bow out of this combo. This doesn't end well because what Tua can't ultimately say, which is where I think this could keep going, is well, Cam's jealous because I'm making X number amount of money. But then Cam can say, well, you're jealous because I was a better player than you. And that's where we get into it's like it happens in the NBA where like all the old players are like, these new guys couldn't play in our league. But a lot of them are bitter because they got paid $1 million a year, and then you have like a bench warmer getting $15 million in NBA. So the money versus the play thing is a big deal. But a lot of people, they don't think those old players can't play. Like if Charles Barkley played today, he would be, a 22-14 type guy, perennial all-star making $50 million a year. But he just lived in a different time. We saw Cam Newton be the biggest dude in the league, run people over, be the best goal line threat ever. Before the tush push, it was just that Cam, I'm just going to get it out the mud myself. And so because Tua has been so injury prone and concussion prone, and their games are so different, you can't compare their games. And Tua has not won a single playoff game yet. So he can't even say, I've done more in the playoffs, because he can't say that. I think Cam has 4 playoff wins in his career, 3 or 4, and he went to a Super Bowl. That's enough. And a league MVP. That's enough. Even if you say your peak was only this long, and I'm going to play for another 5 years, which Tua may, you had a longer career, sure. Alex Smith played in the league for a long time too, but he can only say so much about someone's career. That's where I don't want this to get to a career versus career situation, because that doesn't end well for Tua. And I don't want to get into a who was better at their peak, because Tua at his peak led the league in passing, and a lot of people still were like, is he the guy? When Cam was the best player in the league, he was literally voted the number 1 player. I don't mean winning MVP. I mean like when the ESPN polls players and coaches, he was the number 1 player. I don't think there's ever a time in Tua's career he'll be the number 1 player. So, shout out to Cam for keeping the Dolphins in the cycle we like being talked about. Not talked about in that regard, but just talked about in general makes, all these channels kind of pop. But Tua, get out of this. And the best way to get out of it, really, is just play better. Just go play better. You go out on Monday night, you beat the Jets, you go, 22 of 30, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and we win the game. Cam can't say anything. He could say, I wish you threw for more yards, but you won the game. Don't throw a late pick. And in fact, get the ball late, keep the ball, run the clock out, and show I overcame my 2-minute demons. We didn't throw the game away. I didn't make a mistake. That's your best thing you could do. Just go win. Winning cures a lot of things. Just go win. When you're losing, everybody, look at Atlanta. People love Michael Penix last year. Oh, man, he's so much better than Kirk Cousins. Then they're 0-3 now. I don't know about this Penix guy, man. His mechanics are off. Like, once you start losing, they'll find it. Remember when C.J. Stroud was the NFL darling? Like, he's so much more polished. Bryce Young's trash, blah, blah, blah. And then you look up and it's like, woof. Caleb Williams, same thing. Oh, he can't miss. Mahomesian. Up until that game last week against Dallas, it was like, is this guy good or not? Hey, Bears, you made a mistake. Hey, Ben Johnson, should have stayed with Detroit. When you don't win, everybody comes after you. When you win, we don't care. So Tua, go win. And then make Cam eat his words. Go on a winning streak. Go beat Justin Herbert in a couple weeks. And then be like, oh, we thought Herbert was the 3rd best quarterback in the league this year. But then Tua just beat him. Just go win. And this all goes away. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.